There was a pocket knife in a cigar box at an estate sale in rural Pennsylvania. 3 inches closed, stag handles, 2 blades. The box had a dozen knives in it, and the whole lot was priced at $40. One of them was a Case Cheetah with a tested XX Tang Stamp from the 1920s. It sold at auction for $13,000, $13,000 out of a $40 cigar box. Let me be straight. Most old pocket knives are a $5 to $20 knife. The one your grandfather carried every day is probably worth less than the leather case it sat in. But certain brands, certain Tang stamps, and certain handle materials change the math completely. And 6 of the 10 knives on this list are made by the same company. Subscribe before we start. Number 10, Schrade Uncle Henry, the most common pocket knife in American dresser drawers. Schrade made millions of them, and most are worth $20 to $40. But Schrade closed its factory in Ellenville, New York in 2004. Every Uncle Henry made before that date is now a USA-made knife from a company that no longer exists. The specific models to watch for are the ones with the LB prefix stamped into the tang, which identifies the oldest production run. A pre-closure Uncle Henry in mint condition with the original box brings $50 to $100. Not a fortune, but 5 times what most people assume. The first thing to check is the Tang stamp. If it says USA, the knife was made before the factory closed. If it doesn't, it's an import made under license, and it's worth what you paid for it. Number 9, Queen Cutter pocket knives, Simmons Hardware Company out of St. Louis, the same brand that shows up in our hand planes video. Queen Cutter contracted other manufacturers to build knives under their name and logo, the splitting wedge with E.C. Simmons above it. The knives are well made, and the collector base is separate from Case or Remington collectors, which means less competition at auction and better prices for the seller. A clean Queen Cutter pocket knife with strong blade snap and clear tang markings brings $50 to $150. The mark to watch for is E.C. Simmons above the wedge logo. If it says Shapley instead, that's the later version after the company was sold in 1940. Still collectible, but worth less. Number 8, Queen Cutlery pocket knives, made in Titusville, Pennsylvania, by a small family company that never tried to compete with Case on volume. Queen made fewer knives, used better handle materials on their standard production, and finished them to a higher standard than most mid-range brands. The collector market for Queen knives is small but serious. A clean Queen pocket knife with winter bottom bone or stag handles brings $50 to $200 depending on the pattern. The Queen name is stamped into the tang, usually with Titusville paw underneath. The handle material is what separates a $50 Queen from a $200 one. Bone and stag bring the premium. Plastic handles bring the baseline. Number 7, Winchester pocket knives. The same brand effect that drives Winchester hand plane and tool prices applies to knives. Winchester made pocket knives in the 1920s through a manufacturing contract with Schrade, and the knives themselves are solid but not extraordinary. What makes them valuable is the name. Winchester brand collectors want everything the company ever stamped, from rifles to flashlights to fishing reels to pocket knives. A Winchester pocket knife in clean condition with clear tang markings brings $100 to $500. The rare patterns with pearl or stag handles can reach higher. The identification is the Winchester name on the tang or on the blade. Some have the Winchester shield inlaid in the handle. At a gun show in Ohio, a Winchester pocket knife was sitting in a glass case priced at $30 because the dealer sold firearms, not cutlery. The same knife at a knife show would have brought $300. The knife didn't earn that price. The 4 letters on the blade did. Number 6, Cattaraugus pocket knives, made in Little Valley, New York, by the Cattaraugus Cutlery Company from 1886 until 1963. When the company closed, the knives stopped. No buyout, no license deal, no imported version under the same name. Cattaraugus knives are genuinely finite, Every one that exists was made before 1963, and every year that passes means fewer clean examples survive. A clean Cattaraugus pocket knife with original handles and strong blade snap brings $75 to $300. The rarer patterns with bone or stag handles push higher. The Cattaraugus name or the King of the Woods logo is stamped into the tang. At a church rummage sale, at a flea market, at the bottom of a tackle box, these turn up where nobody expects them because nobody recognizes the name. A knife priced at $5 next to a jar of rusty screwdrivers because the seller never heard of Cattaraugus. Number 5, Remington UMC Bullet knife, the most iconic pocket knife Remington ever made. The handle is shaped like a rifle cartridge, tapered at both ends with a rounded center that fits the palm the way a loaded round fits a chamber. Remington made these from 1920 to 1940, and the Tang Stamp tells you exactly where in that range your knife falls. The earliest examples read Remington UMC, which dates them to the earliest production run before Remington dropped the UMC name from their products. A bullet knife with a clear UMC Tang Stamp, strong blades, and original handles brings $200 to $800 depending on condition and vintage. The bullet handle shape is the instant identification. Nothing else looks like it. Remington made other pocket knives during this period, and many are collectible, but the bullet is the pattern that stops a collector in his tracks at a show. If the handle is shaped like a cartridge and the tang says Remington, you have something worth looking up. And this is where one company takes over the list. Number 4, Case XX Trapper, the two-blade folding knife with a clip blade and a spay blade, made by W.R. Case & Sons Cutlery Company in Bradford, Pennsylvania. The Trapper is the most popular case pattern ever produced and the one most likely to be sitting in a drawer in your house right now. A case trapper with a 1940s through 1960s era Tang Stamp, original jigged bone handles, and full-length blades brings $200 to $600. The Tang Stamp is everything. Flip the blade open and look at the base where the blade meets the handle. The stamp tells you the era. Case XX, without any other markings, usually dates to 1940 through 1964. 10 dots means 1970. The fewer dots on a post-1970 knife, the newer it is. Learn the Tang Stamp chart, and you can date a case knife to within a few years without any other information. Number 3, case-tested XX jack knives. The Tang Stamp on these reads case-tested XX, and that stamp was only used from roughly 1920 to 1940. Any case knife with the tested XX stamp is pre-war, and pre-war case knives are where the prices start climbing. A solid tested XX jackknife with original handles and full blades brings $200 to $400. Scarce patterns in near mint condition can reach $600 to $800. The tested XX stamp means Case put that knife through their own quality testing protocol before it left the factory. It was their mark of confidence, and collectors treat it as a mark of authenticity and age. If you find a case knife and the Tang Stamp says tested XX, stop. That knife is at least 85 years old, and it's worth more than the drawer it's sitting in. Number 2, Case stag-handled folding hunter, a large folding knife with a single clip blade, a stag handle, and a locking mechanism. Case made these in limited numbers with genuine stag handles, and the stag is what drives the price. A pristine Case folding hunter from the 1940s with original stag handles, a full-length blade, and a strong lock can bring $1,500 to $3,000 at auction. The stag handle has to be original. Replacement handles drop the value by half or more. The way to tell is the fit. Original stag was hand-fitted at the factory and the pins sit flush. A replacement handle usually has visible gaps or misaligned pins. The blade condition matters too. A blade that's been sharpened down to half its original width is a $50 knife regardless of the handle. Number 1, Case Cheetah with tested XX Tang Stamp, the single rarest and most valuable production pocket knife in American collecting. Case made the Cheetah pattern in the 1920s with stag handles and their premium tested XX Tang Stamp. Only a handful were produced. The Cheetah is a large, elegant folding knife with a long, sweeping clip blade and a profile unlike any other Case pattern. The stag handles on a genuine Cheetah are thick, deeply textured, and fitted with the precision that Case reserved for their highest-end production. A confirmed Cheetah with a tested XX stamp, original stag handles, and full blades sold at auction in 2019 for $13,000. $13,000 for a pocket knife. The kind of knife a man might have carried in his vest pocket 100 years ago and passed down to a son who dropped it in a cigar box and forgot about it. The Cheetah is to pocket knife collecting what the Stanley No. 1 is to hand plane collecting. The piece that completes a collection, the piece every serious collector has been looking for, and the piece that almost never comes to market. If you find one, don't clean it, don't oil it, don't sharpen it, and don't show it to anyone who isn't a dealer or an auction house. Here is what to check on any old pocket knife before you sell it or throw it away. Open the blade. Look at the base where the steel disappears into the handle. Read the Tang Stamp. If it says Case, Remington, Winchester, Cattaraugus, or any of the other names on this list, stop and look up what you have before you let it go. The stamp on the Tang is the difference between a $5 yard sale knife and a $5,000 auction piece, and it takes 3 seconds to read. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and watch the next video above.